What's up, guys?
On this week's show,
Ruby Rose is Batwoman.
Supergirl coming to the DCEU.
And Dora the Explorer, the movie?
Plus,
Dumb Shit of the Week.
All that and more on this episode
of One Giant Leap for Geeks.
That's one small step for man. One giant leap for
Geeks. Welcome to another episode of OGLFG, where we talk about movies, video games, and all things in geek culture. I'm your host, Mike C. Squared. And with me is my co-host, DJ Melly Mel.
Hey!
So, it's funny. This first topic that we're going to get into is something that I feel like lately, over the last couple of months, we've talked about probably a couple of times now. Mm-hmm. But the state of video game movies is depressing. I mean, to date, the only, and it's not even good. I just like it because nostalgia and it's corny. But to date, the only good video game movie I can think of is the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Yes.
Other than that, they all suck.
Pretty much.
I mean,
even The Rock couldn't save Doom.
Oh, I forget about Doom. Yeah, that, you know.
I mean, it's not a bad movie.
No, it's not terrible. It's about
the equivalent of the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is probably not a good comparison, but I'm like, it's about on the level of like the Resident Evil movies, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in there. Closer to like the first Resident Evil. Because the first Resident Evil movie was actually not bad. Like that's.
I think the first one was the only one I saw.
Yeah, don't watch the other ones.
If I saw the first one and then I saw like 4 sequels after that, but sure. I didn't see the 2, 4 in the middle, however many were in the middle.
God, I think they made like 6 Resident Evil movies.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. Milla Jovovich is the star in, I think, every last one. Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
But
they all have similar titles. So, like, it's, like, Resurrection and...
Yeah, Aftermath.
Revisitation and I don't know.
Resident Evil Regurgitation.
Pretty much. It's pretty much... She's in the same pose in every...
Right, poster
cover,
and shit.
And they're all about the same, like, color. I was just about to show our age here, not that we haven't explored it profusely, but... You know, the VHS cover cases?
Oh, yeah.
They all look the same. All the Resident Evil cover cases, they all look the same.
Resident Evil Constipation. That's going to be the next one.
She's going to be hobble along with the cane and shooting a gun with one hand. And
I mean, the whole movie, she's going to be on a toilet. She's going to be in an outhouse and zombies are going to be trying to break into it. Oh, God.
Wearing her Depends.
Poor Milla Jovovich. Oh, anyway, so the reason that I brought this whole topic up in the first place is because, and we had already touched on this a few weeks back as well. This is, I think, while you were on vacation, actually.
Okay.
But the Sonic movie has started production. And we almost talked about this last week, but we had so much stuff to cover last week that I was like, we'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it ain't like it's like, you know.
I was like, we really didn't have a lot this week, so it kind of worked out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it filled in nicely.
Yeah, just slide in there. But, okay, so I'm getting this from comicbookmovie.com. They say, having started production only a week ago, the Sonic the Hedgehog film is already delving into nostalgia. Green Hill Zone, a name familiar to fans of the franchise, will be making its live-action debut during the hybrid film. The location of Green Hills, which set the tone for Sonic as the game's first level, seems to be under the watch of Sheriff Tom Wachowski, played by James Marsden, the film's human lead. Now, there's a couple pictures of Mr. Marsden.
Okay.
On set. They, just literally, within like a week or so, just started filming. So, they're just kind of doing principal photography and stuff at this point. But this is Mr. Marsden as Tom the cop. And I mean, it's like, okay.
Oh my
and for anyone who
God.
hasn't seen these set photos, he's just like in like a sheriff's outfit, you know, like that light
Do you
brown
remember
combo.
that movie, Me, Myself, and Irene?
He kind of looks like Jim Carrey from that,
He
don't
does.
He does. And then here's another one of them. Just, you know, fixing his little cowboy hat.
All right.
And I'm just like, you know.
I don't remember a cop in Sonic.
It's going to be, because they called it a hybrid movie, it's going to be like a live action CG type deal.
Okay, so like the Christopher Robin kind of thing?
Think Alvin and the Chipmunks. Probably.
Gotcha.
Probably
Gotcha.
somewhere, or like the Smurfs movie,
Okay,
or something
okay.
like that. Somewhere
I mean,
in
those weren't terrible. I didn't say they were good. Don't give me that look. I just said
I was
they
going to say,
weren't-
if you could have seen the face I made when she said it, I was like...
I just said they weren't terrible.
But...
They were tolerable.
Sure, I guess.
Okay, let me rephrase that. The first one was tolerable. The
I-
first Smurfs and the first Chipmunks.
I haven't seen any of the Smurfs movies, and I've only seen part of the first Alvin and the Chipmunks. We, as a matter of fact, me and Amber went to a concert in Detroit to go see Philip Phillips earlier this year, and that next morning we were at the hotel, and that was what was playing when I woke up.
I remember you talking.
Yeah, and I
about
was like,
that.
"What the hell am I watching?" And she's like, "This is Alvin and the Chipmunks." I was like, "Oh god!" I was like,
Yeah.
"What is this?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I go to a concert listening to Philip Phillips all night, and I wake up to Alvin and the Chipmunks." Yay! Actually, to be fair, the Philip Phillips concert was actually not that bad. You converted me, Mr. Phillips. You put on a good show. I'll give you that. Anywho, so the reason I brought this up was this was just another opportunity for me to just make fun of James Marsden. I like James Marsden.
Come on.
I do.
You gotta love the Cyclops.
I do, but his career is so like sad and depressing to me. It's like it's so because he has that leading man look, and
Sure.
he is a good actor, but he just can't seem to get good roles. It's like he's either typecasted as Cyclops or he's just in some other rando movies.
I kind of liked him in 27 Dresses.
I forgot he was in that. Yeah.
But he played that snarky reporter. He played that well.
That's what I said. I'm like he's a
Tom
good actor.
Cruise in the early 90s. He played that snarky, cocky character.
Yeah,
He
Top
played
Gun
it well.
Tom Cruise, yeah. What's funny to me about this whole thing is I can totally see like James Marsden like bursting into like his agent's office and like just yelling at him like, okay,
You got me in here with the damn CG hedgehog.
exactly. Like just I could see his whole life unraveling in like his agent's office. Like I was Cyclops, okay. I was in The Notebook. God damn it. It's like you got me out here playing Tom the Cop in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Like, are you fucking serious? I was in 27 Dresses, okay? And you couldn't get me nothing better than Tom the Cop? It's like you don't even have a last name. Well, they did say it was like Wachowski or something like that. But it's like they're going to just call him Tom the Cop. That's his name in the script, I'm sure. And it's just going to be Tom the Cop. And I was like, oh, poor James Marsden. I'm like, I feel so bad for you because he was Cyclops in 3 of the X-Men movies. Yeah, it wasn't just like, oh, it was the first one. Now he's not the rebooted Cyclops.
No,
but
he's
still.
Cyclops in the X-Men, X2, and The Last Stand.
Stand for some bullshit. I hate that movie. But I don't overall, I don't have high hopes for this movie. Jim Carrey is going to play Dr. Robotnik or Eggman or whatever the fuck you want to call him. So, I mean, that's kind of cool.
He went by both.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's kind of cool. But
it'd be kind of interesting to see if they're going to fatten him up for it. Though.
Oh, yeah, look, Jim Carrey and...
He'll probably wear a costume. The man loves costumes.
Yep, I was going to say, Jim Carrey and...
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, yes, they love doing some costumes. So anytime you can bring out a wardrobe to them, they'll lose their fucking mind.
Can you imagine the Riddler walking with like 400 pounds and he's like waddling?
The Grinch.
Yeah.
He had a big weird gut in that, so I was like, yeah.
They had him in a whole suit in that.
And then he was in the Series of Unfortunate Events movie.
Yep, the Lemony Snicket.
I'm trying to think of something else where he was in like a makeup or something where he didn't look like himself. The Mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I could totally see him doing it. Plus, I want to see Jim Carrey do something funny again. I feel so bad for him.
I just read an article about 12, what did it say? 12 actors and actresses that don't get cast anymore for anything.
He was in it.
And he was like number 4 or something.
I think it's hard too because Jim Carrey's had a career for so long about being a funny guy, and for a while he was kind of trying to curb that because he started doing movies like The Majestic, The Truman Show, and like The Number 23. He was trying to do more serious stuff. That was a good one though. And he was good in all these movies, but I don't know.
And then he got like sad.
His girlfriend committed suicide, OD'd, and he's going through a whole trial, I think, with that. And
now
he's painting now and stuff, and he just seems really like you can tell he's going through some kind of like existential crisis.
Sure.
And I'm like, I want to see him be happy again, So I was like, hopefully this will be something to kind of lift his spirits some and get him back to Jim Carrey.
I would hope so. With Sonic the Hedgehog, they can't be too serious.
Oh, and then they can get Jaleel White to come back and do the voice. Hey guys, it's me, Sonic. You think they'll recycle the theme song?
I think they're gonna put a twist on it.
Oh, yeah, a bunch of like heavy metal guitars and shit.
Well, maybe not like that.
Hans Zimmer does the soundtrack to the Sonic movie.
But you know how they had that? It was like upbeat and do. I think they're gonna throw some extra. They're gonna Vanilla Ice cover it. Is what they're gonna do. Oh, you know how he did
Ninja, rap, go Ninja, go.
Yeah.
You know what? I hate that song, but I actually don't mind the movie. Ninja Turtles 2 isn't that bad.
1 and 2 were good.
Oh yeah, no, the first one is the best.
First one, yes.
But 2 isn't terrible. 3, is that the one when they go back in time? Yeah, they lost me by that.
That
one,
bullshit.
Yeah. They kind of lost me by the end of 2. That's why I say 2 is not good, but it's not bad. When Super Shredder popped up, that's when they kind of lost me. I was like, okay, guys, like now we got a giant Shredder and shit, and we're getting so sidetracked. Well, my favorite line in Ninja Turtles 2 is when Toka and Razor, like when they grow up or whatever, and like Shredder's like, yes, he's like, come to me, my children, they're all like, mama. Yeah, he's like, babies, they're babies. I was like, that is awesome.
Yes, I like that part too.
But from what they're saying in this article, they did have a picture of like a billboard saying like "Welcome to like Green Hills" or something like that.
Okay.
And that town or that park is going to be like mimicking the first level of the first Sonic game.
Okay.
The Green Hill Zone.
With the weird statues.
Yeah. It's like the very first level that you start off on. So I'm interested to see how they're going to do this. Like, is he going to run up and down mountains and shit in the movie? Maybe. Who knows? All I want to know is Tails. Is Tails going to be in this shit? Because if not, y'all can keep anything else y'all talking about.
Right. Tails was the shit.
Thank you. Tails was, honestly, is it Sonic 2 where Tails pops up at? Like, once you could do the co-op in that game, I was sold. I was like, I want to be Tails all day long.
Tails could fly, and he was cool.
Yeah, now he can only fly for so long, but it was dope.
Hey, anything that can fly takes precedent in my book.
Yep. You can keep your speed. I'll take flight any day of the week.
Yeah.
But I did notice that this is kind of following a trend of video game movies lately that are currently in development where they're veering away from the source material. Like, they're not making it about any particular Sonic game or storyline per se. They're just taking the concept and saying, okay, we're going to make a movie around that.
Right.
Because there's a couple other video game movies that are in development or rumored to be in development where, like, for example, they're making an Uncharted movie.
Okay.
And that is not going to be based off of any particular storyline from the games. It's actually going to be like a prequel to where Nathan Drake is younger.
Okay,
they have Tom Holland. Spider-Man's going to be Nathan Drake. Don't roll your eyes. We love Tom Holland. Why would you do that?
I know. He's just in everything.
Is he, though? What else is he in besides Spider-Man?
I don't know. Maybe he's not in everything.
Yeah, I was like, you just watch a lot of Marvel movies, so you see him all the time.
That could be.
Yeah, he feels like he's in everything. He's in everything we watch, pretty much.
Pretty much.
But anyway, I mean, I like I said, I have reserved excitement, I guess. I need to see what Sonic's going to look like. I need to see a trailer for this, what the tone they're going for.
Yeah, is it supposed to be, like, funny, or is it supposed to be...
There's got to be some kind of comedic elements to it, because they wouldn't...
I hope so.
They're not going to put Jim Carrey in this shit if it ain't going to be some kind of comedy in it. At least I hope. So, we'll see.
They got Tom the Cop.
I was Cyclops in 3 X-Men movies, goddammit. Oh, poor James Marsden. Oh, and he was also in because I remember when he left the X-Men franchise because he wanted his character to be killed off in X-Men The Last Stand because he went and chased after Bryan Singer and he was in Superman Returns. He plays Lois's boyfriend in that movie. He thought like, oh, I'm finna follow Bryan Singer and we finna go do these Superman movies together and I'm gonna be no. They made one movie and it flopped and yeah.
I forgot about that movie.
I know. A lot of people tried to.
I forget about those Superman movies.
You know, to be honest though, I would much rather go back and take Brandon Routh and go with that Superman than what we got now. Yes. And we're gonna talk about Mr. Cavill too in a story a little bit later. Ugh. But anywho, final thoughts, Sonic movie?
I don't know if it would be a movie theater movie.
Yeah.
I think that's going to have to be I got it in the red box on a free.
If this went to like Netflix or something, I would see that being justified. Some kind of streaming service. I could see that. But yeah. It just depends. But who knows though? Look at what they did with the Lego movies. I mean, I never thought that it turned out as good as they did.
Yeah.
So I didn't like Lego Batman as much as I did the first Lego movie.
The Lego Batman.
But still, though, they just took a concept that should have failed on multiple different levels.
That's true.
But they made it work. So, we'll see. Surprise me, Sonic. Show me something. But anyway, so moving on to the next one. So, do you follow the CW shows?
A little bit.
The DC CW shows?
A little bit. Like, I know which ones are there, and, I have seen that Supergirl has done relatively well.
Okay.
The Flash is relatively well received. Mm-hmm. I know Arrow was really, really well received, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, it was Arrow, and then, bam, he disappeared.
All of the CW Netflix shows.
He just
I feel bad for him because he is a good actor. Like he has been the one constant thing in all the seasons of Arrow. He's been the main constant. The writing quality and like some of the supporting characters and the storylines kind of dipped, but he's always been good. They just don't give him shit to do good. Anywho, so yeah, the CW DC TV shows are like. This is the closest competitor we have to like the MCU. Mm-hmm. Like the DCEU can't seem to get their shit together, but on the TV side, they killing that shit.
Maybe they need to take some of these directors from the shows.
People wanted so badly for them to incorporate them into the movies. Like when they made Justice League, they wanted the guy who plays Barry Allen on the show to be the Flash in the movie.
Because the Flash is in what, 3rd, 4th season? Or more than that?
I think they're on season 5 now, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this kid's done it for 4 or 5 seasons, and he's really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not bad.
I've seen the Flash costume. Every time I'm talking to somebody new, they're like, "Oh yeah, do you watch Flash and this and that?" And my brother was into it. I don't know if he still is, but It's
more fun than it's probably the most fun of all the CW shows.
Sure,
it's the most lighthearted one. I mean, it has some darker storylines and stuff to it as well, but it's the more happy-go-lucky of all the shows. Like Arrow, and people have made this joke about that show before, but Arrow is basically Batman. That is basically what that show is.
Right.
Like it's legit Batman, and Supergirl is. Pretty much Superman, with more of like a social justice lean to it though, because it's more focused on like social issues that women face and stuff like that, which that's totally fine.
Absolutely.
Black Lightning does the same thing where they deal with like inner city problems and in African American communities, so that's to be expected. Like I'm not one of those people like, oh, this social justice warrior bullshit. Like I don't care about it. I don't care about it enough to be mad or happy one way or the other. I'm kind of indifferent. It's like they haven't done anything overtly to make me offended or outraged in any way. So it's like, whatever, I don't fucking care.
Right.
I'm one of those people where I feel like, if every little thing sets you off and it's like social justice, blah, blah, then it's like you're looking for that shit at this point. So it's like a lot of that shit, you can just let it not bother you. But anywho. I said all that to say this. The season crossover finale for all the CW shows that is coming up this year. It's going to be, like an Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl crossover.
Sure.
Well, they will be introducing Batwoman into the
DCEU.
Wait, ain't that?
T-verse.
I was going to say the DCTU. I don't know.
There
whatever.
You go.
Which we're going to get to another name of a weird universe here as well. But so I'm getting this from Fox News of all places.
All right.
But actress Ruby Rose has deleted her Twitter account following backlash over the announcement that she'll play the first lesbian superhero to headline a TV show in Batwoman. So for those that don't know, Batwoman, I think her name is Kate Kane.
Yes.
She is a lesbian in the comics.
Yes.
She is not a part of the Bat family per se. She was never a Robin or a Batgirl or something like that. She was not trained by Batman.
No.
She kind of did her own thing. It was just kind of like biting his style.
Right.
And then later she gets kind of incorporated into the Bat family, but she's more independent than the rest of them.
Right.
She has no qualms about using guns and or killing people. She is not. This ain't your daddy's
have a
Batman.
moral compass.
Yeah, not in the way
pointing
that they do.
the way that Batman does.
Yeah. Well, shit, she would fit just perfectly with this Ben Affleck Batman because he'd shoot a motherfucker in the heartbeat. And this new Robin, fuck Batman. He stabbed motherfuckers in the neck and all this shit.
Yo.
Anyway, don't get me started on Titans again. But so since that this came out that Ruby Rose was going to be playing Batwoman, a lot of people started attacking her on social media and were saying that she. Well, here, I'll finish the quote. She says, I feel like the reason I get so emotional, growing up, she says, I feel like the reason I get so emotional, growing up watching TV, I never saw somebody on TV that I could identify with, let alone a superhero, Rose said, though through a cracking voice. I have always had this saying, I mean, not me, Oscar Wilde, which is be yourself because everyone else is taken. So I always lived by that motto. And the second motto when I came to the industry was be the person that you needed when you were younger. I feel like one motto led to another. And then it goes on to say that... sorry, I lost my place. It goes on to say, a sci-fi notes Rose's final tweet before shutting down her Twitter saw her lament the fact that people were saying she can't play a lesbian character because she is not a lesbian. Rose, however, has identified as a lesbian since she was a child. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ruby Rose, she first got her claim to fame from Orange is the New Black. She was like a character on that show, and she was in John Wick 2 and a few other things. Have you seen John Wick 2?
Yeah.
She's the female assassin, the deaf one. That's Ruby Rose. Yes, that's Ruby Rose. Yeah. So that's going to be Batwoman.
Awesome.
And, she is a lesbian and has identified as such for quite some time, but people are fucking stupid. So she says, where on earth did Ruby is not a lesbian, therefore she can't be Batwoman come from? Has to be the funniest, most ridiculous thing I've ever read. I came out at 12, and for the past 5 years had to deal with she's too gay. How do y'all flip it like that? I didn't change, she reportedly tweeted prior to deleting her account. The star continues to have her Instagram account open, but has limited commenting to people she follows. So, yeah, unfortunately, Ruby Rose has fallen into a long line of people like Millie Bobby Brown and Kelly Marie Tran and all these other, women who have been harassed by people on social media for playing a fictional character. And they don't like it for whatever reason.
I thought the whole point of acting was to act, to pretend, to be this other character. They gave Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal shit when Brokeback Mountain came out.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How can you play a gay guy and you're not gay and you must be gay? Look, a good actor and or actress does their research. They, even if that's not who they are, if it's part of who they are, then they know all about that.
Sure.
In general. But if they're playing a role, they do their research. Perfect example. The other day, Tyler had said that he had never seen Rain Man.
Oh, really?
So we got into this big whole discussion about how he'd never seen Rain Man, and I was like, the heck do you mean you never seen Rain Man? I'm like, all right, whatever. Well, we were laying in bed a couple days after that, and I was just kind of playing on my phone, and he was doing whatever, and I heard a movie start. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to watch that movie, that Rain Man movie. So we watch Rain Man. Point being is, Dustin Hoffman is not autistic.
No.
He's not a savant.
No.
But you wouldn't know that if you watched that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because
he's
the man studied.
actor.
He studied people who were savants. He studied people who were autistic like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he studied immensely and rehearsed and kept at it until he had perfected things.
Think about Jared Leto and Dallas Buyers Club. He plays a transgender woman.
Exactly.
And Jared Leto is not a transgender woman.
Not
Jared
by
Leto
any
is
means.
a man, and he's not trans anything. But no one gave him shit for that. But then when Scarlett Johansson was trying to play a transgender man in some movie that was coming up, people gave her shit about it, so much so to the point where she dropped out of the role altogether.
I was going to say, I don't remember that role. But...
Which I feel bad for her because the movie still hasn't come out yet. This is like just developing stuff. But I feel bad for her because she already caught shit for doing the Ghost in the Shell movie because people was like, oh, it should be an Asian woman playing that character and not her. If you haven't seen Ghost in the Shell, it's an anime from the late 80s, early 90s, something like that. And it's actually really good. It had a lot of sequels to it. And basically the character is an android. She's not even human. But it takes place in Tokyo in the future. It's called Neo Tokyo. And all the characters are Japanese and yada, yada, yada. And I think the kind of insult to injury to that movie was a lot of people were giving them shit. It was like, oh, the movie takes place in Japan. There's all these other Japanese characters. And then the main character, white woman. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of Japan. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's so dumb. But then the whole, and spoiler alert for, a 30-some-odd-year-old, anime movie and a, year or two old movie. But what happens is, she was human at a time, and she was killed, and then they placed her consciousness into a robot's body.
Okay.
She wasn't made as a robot from scratch.
Okay.
And in the movie, there's a twist of when she finds out that she wasn't made and she wasn't always an android, and that she was human at a time, you find out that when she was human, she was Asian. And when she died, they put her consciousness into a white woman robot body. So it was like, I could kind of see people get mad at that. Because even if you could finally get over your shit and be like, okay, fine, I'll accept it for what it is.
Right.
Then they throw that in there, which is not in the anime at all. Like, she's Japanese the whole time, but it's just so weird. Because it was like, why would you do that? You knew that there was this big controversy about casting a white person. Why would you then go, oh, she used to be Japanese because she sees her tombstone and she sees her name and it's this Japanese name. And then she flashes back and she's this young Japanese girl. And it's like, why would y'all do that? You could have just made her like a young Scarlett Johansson. Like, why? So yeah, so that made people upset. All that being said, Ruby Rose, none of that shit should apply with her.
Right.
She is a lesbian. So I don't even understand what people are mad about. I don't know if they don't think she's gay enough, because she even says the problem she's had is that, she can't get cast and stuff because she comes off as too gay, because she has the, lesbian haircut and, she's kind of not butch, but she's like a hard ass and shit. She's not like one of them
Okay, but if they're typecasting her for hard roles like John Wick 2.
Yeah.
They needed a badass butch woman.
Sure, but I think that's her problem, is that that's the only shit she can get cast for, is a prison inmate or an assassin or Batwoman or something. Which, there's nothing wrong with that, but maybe she just wants to be in a romantic comedy. Maybe she just wants to play the nice neighbor who brings pie over or something, But she will never get that part because of her look. Not necessarily because of her acting ability, but because of her look. And going off that note, I want to say this real quick. I don't want to make this seem like I'm shitting on Ruby Rose, because I'm not. I don't think that Ruby Rose is a very good actress. I think she's okay at best. She hasn't done anything or been in any role that has seriously impressed me. I mean, for example, John Wick 2. She doesn't even talk in that. So it's you know, her whole performance is just off of looks and stuff, which that's okay, but
Right.
it's the vocal interaction and shit like that. That's what I'm looking for in a performance to convince me.
Mm-hmm.
And just from what I've seen her in, because I've watched her in that season of Orange is the New Black, she's just not a very compelling actress. She's passable at best. But she does have a very distinct and striking, I guess, for lack of a better word, look. I'm just not completely sold on her acting ability. But I guess seeing as how she's going to the CW shows, compared to the level of acting that they have there, she'll fit right at home. It'll be fine. It's not like she's gonna, you know, go be in some Oscar award-winning movie. Like, she's going to CW. Their standards are not that high.
To
But
the studios that brought you Smallville.
right, oh my god, yes. But I just think that it's crazy that we have all these rosters of DC characters getting their own shows, except for our main characters. And we're gonna get to Soups in a second here, but how is it that Batwoman is getting a show and we still have no Batman show? No Batman show. Gotham does not count. That is not a Batman show. That is Gotham the series.
I know.
Just like The Dark Knight Rises is Gotham the movie. That is not a Batman movie. That is Gotham the movie. They spend way more time with the lieutenant and the mayor and like the accountant for like town hall and shit than we ever do with Batman. But anyway. We're gonna get to that not today, but in our next DJ ML versus. but I mean, I am interested to see them adapt like the costume, because I think that that's one thing the CW has done well, is that they've integrated the costumes and like translated them from the page to the screen well enough for the budget that they have for a TV show. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, the Flash's costume, if it was in a movie, would look a million times cooler than what it does now.
I know, right?
But for a TV budget, it's not bad. You know, I've seen much, much worse. I mean, hell, think of the old Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk TV show. They just painted his ass green and threw a wig on him. I mean, that's about... They didn't even try to make it seem like he was a monster or something. It was like, just take his shirt off and spray paint him green. It'll be fine. It's close enough. Or the old Spider-Man show from like the 70s. That costume was pretty bad.
There was a Spider-Man in the 70s?
Oh yeah, there was a Spider-Man live-action TV show back in the 70s.
Hell.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's bad.
I'll have
It's
to
real
look that
bad.
up later.
Oh, there's like even some like Japanese like live-action TV shows of Spider-Man. It's so weird because like they took the concept of Spider-Man, but to make it more palatable to like a Japanese audience who was used to like anime and shit.
Mm-hmm.
He had like a mech and shit. Like he could call onto like a big Dragon Zord type thing, like it was a Power Rangers. It was so fucking weird. He had a Spider-Man motorcycle. But what was so funny too, when you had made that joke about Venom riding a motorcycle, that's what it made me think of, was the Spider-Man cycle from the Japanese TV show. I was like, oh god, it's like the Venom cycle, yeah. But I mean, all of this stuff being said, from what I've read about this, we will not be getting Batman in her show, because how it's going to happen is she's going to show up in the crossover event, and then if she's received well, they're going to spin her off into her own show, kind of like they did with the Flash, and Legends, and everybody else. They kind of start them off on Arrow as the test waters, and then they get their own shit. But They did come and flat out say, now this may change down the road as seasons progress, because it did with Supergirl. Because originally they were like, Superman will not be in the Supergirl show, but by season 2 or 3 he does show up. They have said that Batman will not be in the Batwoman show in any capacity whatsoever. Now,
probably because they can't get their shit together and pick up damn Batman.
Yeah. Now, will that change?
It might.
Maybe, but we'll see.
That'd be my thought. If I was casting for this Batwoman show, be like, y'all don't even know who's playing your Batman. You haven't had a good representation of Batman in 30 years.
Long time.
So, no.
Yeah, no, I would agree. It's like, though I feel like that would be an opportunity to cast someone who maybe not necessarily movie level quality, but is a good TV actor to be like, yeah, okay, no, I could totally see, you know, you being Batman. Like, there's a plethora of people they can pick to be Batman. They just got their head stuck up their ass, and they just want a specific type. I mean, I know you don't like Christian Bale, but I think people like him and Michael Keaton are those not immediate that you would immediately think of as Batman, because no one, even when the first original Batman came out, no one was like, Michael Keaton, yes, of course he'd be Batman.
No, I think
like,
he was like the 4th or 5th choice.
Yeah, and people
something.
were pretty pissed off. They was like, y'all got Mr. Mom playing fucking Batman? Really? Like, all right. Like, the stand-up comic Michael Keaton? Him? Like, that'd be like, oh, God.
Well, because he came off of so many of those family shows in the 80s.
Yeah, and then, like, comedic movies and shit. And then, like I said, he did stand-up comic.
Yep.
It would be like if they cast...
And he wasn't the greatest looking guy.
No.
Like
hair.
I love Michael Keaton as Batman to death.
Sure.
I love most of Michael Keaton's movies.
Yeah, but he doesn't have those dashing movie star looks.
Crazy curly hair, and he's like short and scrawny.
He got them like arched, really high eyebrows and shit. I love Michael Keaton.
I do too. Like I said, I love Michael Keaton to death. But
right. Michael Keaton, friend of the show. Sorry, he's not a friend of the show. If he heard this, he'd probably like, fuck you.
We did have Shamar Moore follow me on Twitter, though. So that was pretty awesome.
Good job.
And I sent him a message, and I said, you know, thank you for following me. I appreciate that. You should also follow my show, our show. And I have yet to hear a response, but I haven't been on Twitter in a couple days. So
you know what you need to do? You need to tell that motherfucker that we finna make up some shirts, and if he could just wear one and post that to Instagram, you know, and Twitter,
we'd be golden.
Oh man, we'd be straight. Oh,
but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Closest
it's I got was the
his,
producer.
It's actually his Twitter, not
like a fan.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like a fan based thing or anything.
I hate those.
It is his Twitter because he posts the videos pretty regularly.
Okay.
Where he, you know, he's sitting.
Yeah. He's been in Japan and stuff a lot lately too.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
But
yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So maybe Michael Keaton might listen to our show.
Hey, yeah, there you go.
I'd be all right with that. That would probably be like the biggest geek heart explosion that I ever would have in my.
I'd cry crocodile tears. Like, thank you so much, Mr. Keaton. You brought so much happiness to my life. But anywho. So, I mean, yeah, I do feel bad for Miss Rose. You know, hopefully she doesn't decide to drop out of it. Like, I hope she doesn't let these motherfuckers bully her.
Yeah, I'd like her to stick with it. I want to see what she's capable of.
Because, I mean, people who do this kind of shit, they are the minority of the fan base, but they have the loudest voices.
Right.
So a lot of times it can seem like it's everyone, you know, that feels that way when it's really a very small portion, but they just are very vocal.
Yeah, they outspeak the rest of us.
So I hope she doesn't drop out of this, because that'd be fucked up, man. I mean, we've got enough people who are afraid to express themselves and speak their mind, let alone when it comes to a fictional character.
Right.
Anyway.
Speaking of fictional characters.
Right. Moving on. It's that time again for America's #1 show, Dumb Shit of the Week. That's right. Dumb Shit of the Week is the show where you submit your findings of dumb shit, and we talk about it. Want your submission on the show? Find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks, or you can email us at officialOGLFG@gmail.com. Now here's your host, DJ Melly Mel.
Thank you. All right. So last couple weeks we've had, you know, the themes for Dumb Shit of the Week, which has seemed to be increasingly productive. So yay us. This week is no different. We have the Twitter fans have sent us bad breakup excuses as our dumb shit of the week. All right. The first one is the Marry Date Paradox, and that is sent to us by Two Girls on a Bench on Twitter, and you can find them at Two Girls on a Bench. All right. They say, one time a guy broke up with Trisha and said, "You're the kind of girl that I would marry, not date." Ouch. I kind of get where this dude's like.
What does that mean?
I get what he's trying to say,
What
but
does that
he
mean?
didn't say it right.
Because that's why I put marry date paradox. Because I was like, the fuck does that mean?
I think. Now, don't.
Please explain this to me, because
I've heard of the girls that you bring home to mom and the girls that you don't make it past the front door.
Yeah, but that's some...
The girls that you marry and the ones that you sleep around with.
Yes, but he told her that he would rather marry her, not date her. That doesn't make sense.
Like I said, I think he was just confused.
No, I think he just had a bad breakup. He just didn't want to fuck around with her no more, and he was like, I would marry you, but not date you, and I ain't ready to be married yet, so bye. Like, the fuck does that mean?
I don't know what that...
Would you... Okay, in this day and age, unless you have... unless you're highly religious, which there's nothing wrong with that,
right.
and or have an arranged marriage, I seriously doubt you're going to marry someone that you haven't, at least to some degree, dated.
No.
You don't necessarily have to live together and all that shit, but, I mean, not like, hey, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, we go to the fair and shit like that, nothing? Like, nah, just straight to marriage.
Yeah, no, I'd have to pass on that guy.
Yeah, so sorry.
I'd be like, you're the kind that I don't marry.
Right.
And apparently I don't want to date you either, so.
Sorry, Trisha.
Toodles.
Yeah, Trisha.
Yeah, Trisha.
He was on some...
Girl, I'm sorry,
He was on some biggity bullshit.
Very.
Because I'm like, that is the most asinine thing I've probably heard as an excuse to break up with somebody. Like, really? Like, okay, it's like, oh no, you're a great person. You know, you would make a great wife, but I don't want to date you. What?
Isn't that the point of dating?
Right, I know. Why would you date someone who you don't want a future with?
Right. That's at least your end goal eventually is to be married.
No, that was a good one. Because when that was like the first one we got to, and I was like, are you serious? Like, oh man. So that was just a taste of things to come.
Yeah. Sorry, Trisha. All right. Our next one is short distance relationship. And this was sent to us by Melissa on Twitter at Brooke Reading Pod. She says, I have two. One, a girl broke up with me because she didn't want to be in a long-term relationship. We lived 20 minutes from each other.
Oh, and real quick, there was a typo and she fixed it. She meant to put a long distance.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A long distance relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We live 20 minutes from each other.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's not long distance, but okay. Number two, a girl broke up with me because I was too immature, but I was the same age as her. Because I was too close to my sisters. What the actual fuck? Okay. 20 minutes is not a long distance relationship.
No.
MC Squared drives that more to come record a weekly show than anything else. And he drives that to go to work. I drive that to go to work. That's that's a commute. That's
that's daily.
Daily, exactly.
Yeah. It's like, sure, they probably live on the other side of town, best. But are you telling me that a county separation is going to keep you from dating somebody?
No.
Like, all right.
That is one lazy ass person.
Yeah, it's like, man, like, god damn. It's like, you live too far. Like, huh?
You want me to live next door or what?
Right. It's like, if we can't be kitty corner from each other, I can't make this work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Long distance relationships, what I would define is, look, it's a road trip. You got to get on a flight or some shit.
Perfect example. Tyler lived 250 miles away.
Yeah, that's a long distance relationship.
250 miles. We talked on the phone, Skyped, and texted for 3 months straight. And then I finally got to kiss him. That's a long distance relationship. Mind you, been 5.5 years. So it seemed we done something right. But 20 minutes across town, that is not long distance.
No, you can
that
make a 250-mile relationship work. You can make a 20-minute distance relationship work. Like that's
I said, that's
stupid.
your commute to work.
Yeah, like
it takes me longer than 20 minutes to get him to school. And that bitch was just dumb. Yeah. I'm sorry.
And then her other thing that she was immature and that she had too close a relationship to her sister. Now, this is going to sound terrible, but the second part of that I can kind of see, because I've been in relationships with people who were too close to their family, so much so to the point where it's like you feel like you're not only, I mean, now I get it. Anytime you're in a relationship with somebody, you know, the family comes with it.
Well, sure.
That's a given. But
if
the relationships where you feel like you're dating, yeah, the family as well as the girlfriend, it's like, okay, there has to be some kind of separation to a degree. Like if you're one of them, if you spend just as much or more time with your family as you do your significant other, I could see how that can become a jealousy thing or just feeling like you're not as important.
Right.
So that part I can kind of sort of understand.
Or if you're like, oh, hey, you know, you and I are dating. Let's say we've got plans to go to the movies.
Sure.
My mom calls up and said, hey, let's come. Why don't you come over for dinner? Or I need you to help me come
move a couch or some shit.
Pluck the weeds out of the garden or something. And I turn around and I go, oh.
Mom called. Sorry, I got to cancel.
Mom called, gotta go.
Yeah.
I can see where that's too close. And then you're like, well, no, we have dinner plans. Can we go after dinner or tomorrow, or they'll still be there tomorrow? No, I'm going. So you're good. You can go to dinner, but I'm going to see my mom.
And I don't want this to sound like I am not supportive of people maintaining relationships with their friends and family. When
absolutely not.
You know, in a significant other relationship. That's totally fine. But there is a balance that does come about.
Sure.
But I don't know. I mean, I feel like something like that can be worked out a lot of the times. And if you really sit down and talk to them, you can probably find a happy medium.
Right.
This particular scenario just sounds like it's an excuse. Especially with the distance thing. And then it felt like, okay, she felt like that was a weak excuse. So she was like, and you're immature and you're too close to your family. It's like trying to like build up a foundation for that first bullshit ass 20-minute distance excuse.
It might have been two separate girls, because it says a girl broke up with me because of the long distance.
Oh, yeah.
And then a girl broke up with me because I'm too immature, even though I'm the same age as you.
Melissa, word of advice. You need to find somebody who does not have horse shit reasonings for why they do things. And I know it's hard. I mean, I don't know. Maybe come up with some kind of like questionnaire.
When you start dating somebody, got it right.
Hey, yeah.
I used to laugh, but after being somebody who's online dated and somebody who's tried to date not online, them questionnaires are really handy. So,
right.
Maybe.
Right. What is your feelings about, bestiality?
Okay.
Well,
I actually thought about, like, making up a questionnaire for, like, screening dates that I didn't meet online. Not necessarily sitting down and
in front of them, right? You pull out a chart, like, so tell me about your father.
But, like, the more things that you talk about, you kind of check them off a list.
Sure.
And if you have enough check marks, then, I mean, it's worth trying.
I'll tell you a little secret. I was in a relationship once, and we had broken up for a bit. And we got back together. And during that other time, during the time we were broken up, the girl that I was with, she started sleeping with somebody else.
Okay.
And I knew about it when we got back together.
Sure.
And there was one point where I came across her little journal.
Okay.
And she had literally made a pros and cons list of who she should be with, me or him. And it was like just this list of like, oh, well, he does this and then this guy does that, or this guy says this and he does that. And it was so fucked up. So I'm like, if you do something like that, make sure that person never, ever finds it, because they will immediately hate you. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, it's
like, seriously, you made a pros and cons list of me? Like,
yeah,
wow.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
It's different if you're making a list of qualities that you like.
Sure.
I like guys that do this, and this.
Sure.
As opposed to one person versus the other.
Yeah, comparing.
When
people,
you compare two people, then I'm wanting you to pick that other person.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like I'm not a piece of equipment in an RPG where you're like, oh well, this one will give me plus 20 health if I take him.
Right.
Like, don't do me like that.
That's not how it works. Not how it works.
Mm-mm.
All right. Our next submission is I'm not looking for a relationship with you. This is sent to us by Mackenzie Lambert on Twitter at Cinemac. And her
he's saying
her
like her
excuse, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm looking for a friend. And 1 week later, already dating a new guy. Okay. I've actually heard this line before.
Oh yeah. I've personally had someone tell me that before.
I've had something similar. I'm not looking for a relationship with you.
Well, okay. Well, she didn't come right out and tell him that. She was just like, I just don't want to date nobody right now, and then immediately went and started dating somebody else. And it's like, if you don't want to be with someone, I get that you don't want to hurt their feelings.
Right.
And you're trying to do it in a nice way, but I feel like, and this is going to sound corny, but it's true, I feel in this instance, honesty is the best policy.
Always, yeah.
I would much rather you be honest with me and say, I don't like you the same way that you like me.
Right.
Or I don't have feelings for you, anything beyond the platonic way, as opposed to saying, oh, I like you, but I just don't want to date nobody right now. And then turn around and date somebody else. Yeah. It's like, bitch, you know I'm going to find out about this shit. Like, don't lie to me. Like, I'm going to see you with this motherfucker.
Yep. I actually had asked a guy out, and...
Oh, that sucks.
I was in high school when I asked this guy out. And I wanted 1 date. That was it. And he was just like, yeah, I'm not really looking to date you. And he said it just like that and kind of left me standing in the hallway. I'm like, wait, what?
Like, well,
I said, I'm asking you out on 1 date. I said, just give me 1 date. That's it. I was even willing to pay for the date. Wow. I was willing to pay for dinner and the rest of the date afterwards. If
nothing else, a free meal and a night out. Hell yes.
And he said, okay, well, I'm really not looking to date you. You're just not somebody I want to be seen with. And I stopped. I was like, all right, bye.
Wow, bye, Felicia.
Right.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that was crazy. So
shit, damn. Yeah, man, it sucks because I've had the same thing happen where, you know, in high school, God, there was I dated the same girl throughout the majority of high school.
Okay.
But there was like a small gap of time where we had broken up.
Sure.
Like getting close to like our senior year.
Sure.
And yeah, there was people that I had tried to talk to that didn't go to our school because I just didn't want any more drama in the school than I already had. Having to still have classes with my ex-girlfriend and everything else. And yeah, no, I've had people say shit to the effect of that of, no, okay. I'll tell you my own personal one, and we'll go to the next one. And I'm not going to say your name because I know you sometimes listen to the show, but
you'll know who you are.
You know who you are. And I'm not mad at you anymore. I still love you, but you know this shit was dirty. So, girl that I was dating in high school, we had broken up. She had started messing around with one of her coworkers, right?
Okay.
I did not know the dude all that well. I think I had only seen him maybe once or twice in passing. But I didn't know him all that well, and I did not recognize him when I seen him. After we broke up, she was messing around with this dude. And one night, me and my friends, we went to the club. Okay. And we were there, we were playing pool, drinking and shit.
Sure.
And hanging out. And, no, I wasn't 21 yet, so we probably weren't drinking. Or we might have been and we weren't supposed to. Anyway.
I'll say.
it's long enough. The statute of limitations is passed if you go try to hit me for some shit like that. But, there was this girl that was at the club. And I saw her, and I thought she looked cute. And I went trying to talk to her. Everything was going good. Numbers exchanged. It was all good. And at some point, some dude, I guess, was hanging out with them. And there was one point where I'm kind of just sitting and watching my friends play pool, waiting for them to finish so I can join.
Right.
And this dude just comes and sits, like, really close to me. And I don't recognize him, but he's just, like, staring at me. Not in no, like intimidating way, but he's just kind of smiling and
Like
looking at me.
creeping at you?
Yeah, and I was just like, who the fuck is this weird ass dude that like, and he's like so close to me, and it was really weird. And then later, the next day, I try to call the girl to like, go out on some kind of date or something, try to get something going on. And she tells me, oh, well, I got to go pick up my kids and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Now, at this point, I'm like 18, 19, I think, something like that. So, and at the same time, I'm like, well, I ain't trying to be your fucking kid's dad or whatever. I don't care. I was like, do your thing, and then we can hang out when you're free. Never heard back from the girl. Come to find out, my ex, the dude that she was fucking around with was the guy at the club, and he was friends with the girl who I was hitting on. So they basically cop blocked me out of trying to hook up with this chick. And like, she gave me shit about it. She was like, so I hear you talking to girls at the club. And I was like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, you like got some other motherfucker balls deep in your ass and you yelling at me about talking to somebody at the club that y'all then went and cock blocked me from talking to? I was like, okay.
Messed up.
I still love you. But anyway, go ahead.
Our next submission is a not so happy ending. And this is sent to us by Mixed Media Forest Podcast on Twitter. And you can find them at Media Forecast. Forestcast, I think. Forestcast.
There we go, yeah.
Yeah. Mixed Media Forest Podcast. And you find them at Media Forestcast.
There we go.
Aha. I will get it. And they sent us a submission that says, there was a girl that I liked way back. One night at a party, we got close. I gave her a massage with a happy ending. And then she went to sleep. The next day, she said that she just wants to be friends and didn't remember what happened the night before. She was asleep.
Now that I've never had happen before.
I've had something similar happen.
Well, like you did it or the guy did
No, the guy.
Okay.
But, one, we weren't at a party. Two, yeah, I know I didn't claim that I didn't remember what happened the night before, nor neither did he. But, yeah.
What's funny about this whole thing with him is like, she was basically like, I got mine, I'm good. Like,
I almost wonder if she was drunk.
It could have been. He did say it was at a party.
Right. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Maybe if she said she didn't remember and she was sleeping, maybe she...
I don't know.
Maybe she passed out?
The more we talk about this, the more it sounds like bad. I'm like, and to not to say like you took advantage of nobody or no shit like that.
No, I mean...
At all, but I think it's just the way we're wording it. Like, the longer I talk about it, I'm like, this sounds bad. It's like, maybe she was passed out. It's like, wait. No. Honestly, what it probably was is that you guys were at a party, her inhibitions were down. She was like, sure, why not? Maybe, and look, maybe she had a guy moment where she was like, hey, I just need to get this nut off and then I'll go about my business and be done.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I've never, let's put it this way. I do not give favors, sexual favors, without some kind of reciprocation.
Exactly.
Like if I'm just gonna massage you and give you a happy ending, I better be just as happy by the end of this shit as you were, because if not, then ain't nobody finna be happy. Right. I'm like, we both just finna be sitting here mad, because the hell no. Yeah, that's some pretty shitty. That's like a guy move. That's that one night stand shit. Like, all right, bye. You gonna call me? No, bye.
Nope. Here's your Uber.
Right, I got mine. Right, you still here? I thought you left already. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. The next one is the damn chewing. It's the damn chewing. Sent in by Bobby Light Simmons on Twitter, and you can find him at Versace Jedi. He says, I once broke up with a girl in high school because her mom chewed too loud at the dinner table. If it's your girl that's chewing too loud, sure. Because chewing loud drives me up a wall and down the other.
Yeah, Tyler don't like that shit either.
Oh, God, no. He'll smack somebody's food out of their mouth. And I've seen him do it. But her mom, bro, how often were you with this chick's mom that it was bothering you? Like,
He's like, I had dinner at their house every fucking night, and I hated that
had
shit.
three fucking meals with these people. No, if your girl's mom is chewing so loud that it perturbs your relationship, I don't know about that one. All right, our next submission comes to Break It To Me Lightly, and this is sent by Pitney and Amelia's Bitchin' Boutique on Twitter. Bitchin' Boutique is where you are, at Bitchin' Boutique is where you can find them. A guy claimed his reason was sometimes you get upset about something and then later you get upset about something else. I guess it was easier than saying, yeah, I've just been fucking somebody else.
That shit's actually pretty funny because I was like, he's like, you know, sometimes you wake up at night and then sometimes you go to bed again. Like, what kind of shit? It's like, sometimes you're mad and then sometimes you're mad about something else. And it's like, what? That's called being human. Like,
right?
What the fuck does that even mean? Like, what are you saying right now? Like, of course. Like, who doesn't do that? Everyone gets mad and then calms down.
Right. The only thing I can think of that he was attempting to say is, like, you know, when you're fighting with somebody and 90% of women do this and about 40% of guys, they bring up something from the past.
I'm bad about that.
I am too.
I won't lie. I'm one of those people who I won't bring up what was making me mad at the time.
Right.
I'll stew on it, and then like 6 months later, I'll blow up about some shit that happened way long ago.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm bad about that.
And a lot of people
I'm one of those 40% guys.
Yep. I'm one of the 90% women. I really am.
You remember that time we first started dating?
Yep.
You remember back in 2006?
Now I have definitely gotten better. Mm-hmm. But that's the only thing I can think of that this guy was.
No, it's just
well, I guess it
with
is.
all of these.
I guess
they
it
just
is
wanted
better.
to break up.
Yeah, I guess it is better than saying, "Yeah, I've been fucking someone else." So
yeah,
I'm
with
all
these, they just want to break up, and it's just like, how
I'm
can I
giving
say
these
this
people
that
too
doesn't
much the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, they're just going, how can I say this without making me look like a complete asshole? Mm-hmm. Because it ain't nothing to do with, oh, I'm just unhappy in a relationship and none of that. No,
they're just nasty.
No. No, it's like, well, sometimes you get mad, and then sometimes you get mad at something else. The fuck kind of shit? It's like, just say you cheating on me. God damn,
right.
Like shit. Don't
just
insult my
me.
intelligence.
Just
fuck
tell
you.
me. I've got my own to add to this.
Sure.
I mean, I've been kind of adding my own as we go, but I'll read this last one and then.
Okay.
All right, the last submission that was sent to us is called "Finding Myself," and it was sent by the Stuff Podcast Show on Twitter, and you can find them at the Stuff IDW. And it says, "My favorite is I need to figure out who I am." This is where the person's like, I'd be like, "Bitch, your name is Rebecca." Then they further go on to say, "I just feel like some excuses are cop-outs for not wanting to work in the relationship. I don't know, call me old-fashioned, but..."
That would crack me up. It was like, I need to figure out who I am. Bitch, your name is Rebecca. I laughed hard as shit when I saw that. I was like, good job. That was good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was good. No, yeah, I don't like that excuse either. Like, I need to find myself. It's like, then who have you been for X amount of years of your life so far? Like, what the fuck does that even mean? I need to find my... Bitch, is you going to Tibet? Like, what do you mean? Are you going to go do like a Batman Begins climb up the mountain and find the blue rose and bring it back to Ra's al Ghul? Like, what do you mean you need to find yourself? What does that mean? I hate that kind of shit.
I need to focus on my career, not on...
You know what? That shit bothers me too. That shit, if you can't maintain a relationship and a career, how are you ever going to have a family? So, because I'm like, your career is never going to get easier. Like it's like, oh, it's hard now, but later I'll be on easy.
Sure, I'll get everything all figured out, and then it'll be
right. No.
It doesn't work like that.
It's kind of like that same thing about people saying it's never a good time to have kids. You'll never find a good time.
Right.
It's never a good time to have kids.
You got it. That's it.
I'm like, so to say, oh, well, once I get my other life goals out of the way, then I'll have time for love. And it's like, fuck you. Like,
no, it doesn't work like that.
No. But what I do find funny about that particular excuse is, what does that entail exactly?
A lot of single nights with Ben and Jerry's on the
Right,
couch.
right. I'm like,
some slippers.
I'm like, what exactly is finding yourself? Because I would love to be like, you know what? I just come to your house one day, and you got like a whiteboard and shit and a bunch of strings connecting things. And it's like, yes, this thing happened at this point in my life, and it took me on this trajectory and this, that, and the other. You got like a whole genealogy thing printed off. Like, yes, I'm part Irish and this, that, and the other. It's like, what are you doing? I'm trying to figure out who I am, goddamn. It's like, hey,
more power
you know what?
to you.
Like, I see why you needed some time away from the relationship, because this is clearly your obsession now.
Right. Right. There you go.
But you said you had your own for this?
Okay. So my dumb shit of the week,
Okay.
bad breakup excuse, didn't exactly lead to a breakup for more than 3 hours, but I was young and dumb, and we're going to go with that. I broke up with the dude, or attempted to break up with the dude, because he decided that he was going to post himself on Craigslist. Okay. Do you remember how Craigslist used to have the personal ads? You'd find the weird...
Do they not now?
No, there was a new law passed.
Oh,
and
okay.
It completely... Craigslist no longer has personal ads.
Oh.
Like, you could still use Craigslist for everything else.
Sure.
But the personal section is no longer existence.
Wow.
Like, there's some kind of internet law that it was passed.
Oh.
And it is done.
So what was the reasoning?
The law?
Yeah. Like, what were they trying to stop?
Sex trafficking.
Oh, okay. All right, sure.
So it wasn't just Craigslist. They've cracked down on a lot of websites. Kick and a lot of Facebook sites.
Instagram, all that kind of
Instagram,
shit.
yeah, it's internet wide.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways. Now, I had a legitimate reason.
Okay.
I was in a relationship with this guy for several years.
Okay.
And a friend of mine was looking for a date on Craigslist. I don't judge, whatever.
Do your thing.
She sent me his ad. He was holding himself
Nice.
in our bathroom mirror.
Nice.
At our apartment that I paid for.
Nice. Nice.
And said, lonely 20-something-year-old guy looking for an older woman so that he can give it to her. 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 80s. It doesn't matter.
Holy shit.
So, see, I had legitimate reasoning. That's not where the funny part is.
Well, I was just saying, where's the bad breakup?
The bad breakup was, he says, oh, well, if you didn't want me posting on Craigslist, you should have told me that. I'm like,
I didn't know I needed to give you a disclaimer at the beginning of the relationship. Like, hey, before we date.
Pretty much a given.
Before we date, I just want to clarify. You cannot put personal ads of yourself holding your dick in our bathroom mirror saying that you want to fuck 80-year-olds on Craigslist.
Correct.
Can you agree to this? Good. I
Right.
need you to sign here.
That's one of those things
here.
that you shouldn't have to... He's like, well, how did you find... What were you doing on Craigslist? I said, it was sent to me.
That shit always cracks me up. That is such a guy thing.
It's such a cheater thing.
Yeah, but that's a guy thing, though. When dudes get caught doing shit, why was you going through my phone? You know, it's like,
yeah,
what the fuck was you doing?
Too.
Like, come on, man.
Right. Yep. So that was the bad breakup, kind of on his part, was, well... What were you doing on Craigslist checking me out and checking out my profile?
You know what's funny? Real quick, Amber was watching this really bad, like, it wasn't a Tyler Perry movie, but it's one of them.
Neil Breen movie?
No, but, right. No, it was just kind of like one of them Tyler Perry movies where, you know, like, it's like an all-black cast, and it's like, there's this really well-off dude that the girl is with, and then she gets with him that he turns out to be crazy and abusive and all this shit. Well, I came home from work.
One of them Lifetime movies.
Exactly. And I had walked in on a part where the girlfriend, I guess she was trying to leave the dude.
Okay.
Because I guess she wanted to have a baby.
Okay.
and he had been secretly taking steroids or something like that to like lower his sperm count so she couldn't get pregnant. And she found, like
The steroids.
the shit in the syringe and all that shit. And then she's like, what is this? And he's like, you've been going through my things. She was like, no, fuck all that. She was like, no.
Yeah. Obviously, I was going through your shit if I found it.
Right. She was like, no, you in here taking drugs so you won't get me pregnant. Like, fuck you. Like, don't.
Making yourself infertile because you'd rather be sterile than tell me that you don't want to have a baby.
Exactly. Right. It's like, why are you going through my things?
No, fuck that.
It's like, fuck that and you. Get out. Shit.
Yep. Yeah, so, that was the craziest thing that he's just like, whoa.
You should have told me.
Whoa, you should have told me.
You never said I couldn't go on Craigslist.
I was like, dude, fuck you. Go away. And then, of course, like I said, I was young and dumb, and he had smooth talking, and he won me back for another couple of years. No, like 6 months.
I was like, goddamn, couple of years after
like
that
6
bullshit?
months. No, like
so
6
did you
months.
so how often would you go back and check Craigslist to see if he was
Oh,
still...
daily. I told him, I want an email password. I want a Facebook password. I want the PIN number off your phone. I said, and I will be checking regularly.
See, that's bad. Once you get to the point in a relationship where you got to do shit like that...
I told him, I said, I shouldn't have to check up on you.
Yeah, it's time to stop. Well, luckily, that didn't last much longer
no,
after that.
No.
6 months is too long.
It got worse
but...
after that. So, didn't matter.
This motherfucker
I upgraded.
He's putting ads in the newspaper and shit. Lonely 20-year-old.
No. And then he tried to tell me that it was an old ad.
Wait, and what's so funny about it is he say lonely, but you can probably like see like your hair shit on the like bathroom counter and everything.
That's how
lonely.
That's how I called him on it.
It's like, bitch, you in our house.
He's like, that's an old ad. That's an old ad at first. Before he's like, well, what are you doing on Craigslist?
You got the same haircut, motherfucker. Picture.
No, I had our bathroom decorated.
Uh-huh.
I could see my decorations in the fucking mirror. Like, I have my bathroom decorated now.
You have like a big thing, a decal on the wall that says like, your name and his name and forever and shit. And he's like lonely 20-year-old single.
I had, I knew it was I knew it was my decorations.
Sure.
Because I had them for a while. I had them in the bathroom and I'm looking at it and I'm like, that towel wasn't there the other day. I said, I just put them towels up. We had towel rack.
Mm-hmm.
And you could, and when in the mirror, it's still right there.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I just bought them towels 3 days ago. So don't tell me that that's an old ad.
Shit. He's like, I posted this shit right after you bought them towels too. Like the moment you went downstairs, I was like, dick pic.
Yeah. But remember, that is our dumb shit of the week. So if you'd like to send in your submissions, we'll compile them each week, read them, and shout out to you for sending it. Keep them coming in, guys, because Lord knows I've been through a bunch of dumb shit, but it seems like everybody else has too. You can send it to us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks, or you can email it to us at officialoglfg@gmail.com.
Okay. So for our next story, we're gonna kind of still stay in that CW vein. Well, no, DC, not CW. So they are making there is talks that Warner Brothers is going to make a Supergirl movie, which I guess to some degree or another it will be a part of the DCEU, whatever that ends up becoming going forward. Who knows? We'll see what happens with Aquaman and Wonder Woman 2. But I'm getting this from WeGotThisCovered.com. Says the future of the DC Extended Universe is in flux right now. It says the future of the DC Extended Universe is in flux right now. After the failure of Justice League, Warner Brothers slowed down a little and only have 3 movies coming out in the next 2 years. Aquaman, Shazam, and Wonder Woman 1984. Beyond that, the studio has various projects rolling around, but an official schedule has yet to be released. That being said, a new report might just reveal which pick is next in line to begin development. According to Deadline, the studio's begun work on putting together a Supergirl movie. That's right, after a couple of very successful seasons on television in recent years, the character's now coming to the big screen. Details on the project remain scarce at this early stage, but it's believed that Oren Uziel is penning the script. So we don't have any actress, no director, nothing like that. So this is in like still early stages.
I would say we barely have a script.
Right. But
either one of two things is going to happen.
Sure.
Either it's going to take off and we're going to get 9 million Supergirl movies like we have Superman.
Sure.
And she's going to get overplayed.
Sure.
Or it's not going to take off and it's going to flop like...
I think if they do it right, it could do well, because I think Wonder Woman was well received. I think
Absolutely.
people are gonna receive Captain Marvel well. I think if they do it right, it can work. I think what my biggest concern would mainly be that what the hell is going on with Superman?
Right.
Henry Cavill, I feel like this is DC putting Henry Cavill on watch. It's like, look, because I guess there's been some issues going on behind the scenes where he's trying to ask for more money for another Superman movie, and DC's kind of like not really wanting to give him more, which I can kind of see their position, because
Man of Steel was awful.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest, and BVS was even worse, and Justice League was even worse than that. So it's like every movie that Henry Cavill's been in this DC universe has been progressively getting worse. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not necessarily any fault of his.
No,
but at the same time, he is the face of the character. So, when push comes to shove, he is the face of Superman. So, that's how these things go, Andrew Garfield, I always thought was a good Spider-Man, but the movies weren't all that great. That wasn't his fault. But
right.
He is the face of the character, so when they want to change something, he's the one that's going to probably go.
Right.
So, I'm just like, how are we making a Supergirl movie, and we still have not got a Man of Steel 2? We don't even know what the hell's going on with the Batman. I mean, that's still in a weird flux. I mean, I know they're working on it, but God knows what's going to fucking happen with that.
They've been working on it for like 2 years now, though.
I know. We got 2 Joker movies in the works for some fucking reason. Harley Quinn movie, Suicide Squad 2. All these things are supposedly happening. Mm-hmm. And then now they're throwing this in the mix. And it's just like, I just feel like we're going back to the drawing board again. I feel like it's back to the beginning of the DCEU, where it's just like, just keep throwing shit, and then whatever sticks, we'll just go with that. Like, they need a plan, because if you remember, in Man of Steel, there's a scene where he first finds the spaceship, and one of the pods are open, and people were like, "Oh, that's Supergirl! Like that's
right.
Kara's,
I remember that,
pod or whatever, and she's going to be in the sequel." Well, I think Zack Snyder came out later and said that no, that wasn't supposed to be Easter egg to Supergirl or whatever. But at the time, many people thought that it was.
Sure.
And
it would be cool if it was.
I know. I was like, why? Just say yeah.
I mean,
yeah, we always meant to do that. Yeah, totally.
They could honestly go back to it and make it be a...
Yeah, they can retcon it to be her. I mean, and it's vague enough to where you could, and it wouldn't be a problem. Now, to be fair, Kara is older than Clark, but she comes to Earth after he does. And so, he grows up on Earth, whereas she leaves Krypton when she's like a teenager.
Right.
So she still remembers Krypton and their family and everything else, whereas Clark doesn't know anything about his
he was
home
like
world. Infant,
6 months,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
when they sent him away. So he doesn't know anything about Krypton besides what he's learned from the ship and his father's hologram and all that kind of shit. But so they have an interesting relationship, because she comes from that past and she still has some of the customs and things like that. So she has a much harder time adjusting to living on Earth than Clark did.
Well, yeah, it's easier to program a kid.
Right, from birth, as opposed to, this bitch is 16 and shit. Just like, the fuck?
Y'all motherfuckers crazy.
Right, and then she has to adapt to her powers and stuff, whereas Clark, he got to grow up with it and learn how to control them, where she just comes and it's just instant superpowers, and it's like, oh shit. So, I mean, either way, I don't want to say that I don't want this to happen, because I would like to see a Supergirl movie. But at the same time,
I don't think we've seen it on screen.
There was one way back in the day, around in the Christopher Reeves era. There was a Supergirl movie. It didn't get a sequel. I don't even think Christopher Reeves is in the movie, and it's not very good. But there was one.
But there's not a lot of representation
other than that,
of her.
other than that, besides like the cartoons and stuff, that's really the only screen time she's ever really had. And then the games, like the Injustice games, she's in those. But I mean, I don't know. It's all gonna pretty much come down to who they cast to play Supergirl. That's what's gonna dictate how this is gonna go. And at the same time, we have to figure out what the hell's going on with the DCEU.
Yeah.
We can't keep going back and forth with this shit. It's like we need a plan, and we need to figure out how... We need an architect to come and make all this stuff work. And we can't just keep... Because honestly, I feel like they're kind of giving up on the whole shared universe thing, and they're just like, we're just going to go back to just making superhero movies that don't connect to each other. And it's like, I don't want that. Like, we've been spoiled too much by the MCU.
Right.
You can't go back now. Like, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. It's out now. Like, you have to keep going forward. So, I don't know. If they can make a team-up movie, like if they made Man of Steel 2 and introduced her in that and then gave her movie, then I'd be like, okay, at least we're not shortchanging Superman to get Supergirl in here. Because I basically feel like Warner Brothers wants their cake in to be able to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be able to have Superman... But they don't want to have to deal with the stigma that this current Superman has, that people don't like him in the way he's portrayed. So they're like, okay, well, we'll just do Supergirl and then make her the Girl Scout and the positive and the happy to be a superhero and all this kind of shit. So then we can have her embody all the characteristics of Clark, but we don't have to make her Clark. And then we can still be doing the girl power movement and everything else. And, you know, her and Wonder Woman can be friends. And it's just like, oh, that's cool.
In theory.
But I don't want to do that at the expense of Superman.
Right.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, we definitely need our DC superheroes to coincide with each other, not compete with each other.
Yep.
And honestly...
I don't want to swap one for the other.
No. And as much as I'm not a Superman fan...
Right.
I still want to see them work together.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
You see all these memes on Facebook where... It's like a brother-sibling rivalry between Clark and Bruce. And that's what I want. I want to see that, like... Yeah. You know, there's all the jokes, well, why are you better than me? I fly, and I do this, and I that, and I'm the face of America. Because I'm Batman. Like, I can so see a pair of brothers, you know, a couple years apart. Sure. The older one, the younger one's like, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I do all this other stuff, and why do you get the win? Because I'm the older brother. That's, you know, and not even connecting comics. I don't know which one was first, Batman or Superman. It doesn't matter.
Superman is the OG superhero.
Anyway, and like I said, it doesn't matter. I can totally see that rivalry.
Yeah,
and that's what I want.
And it sucks too because of how they've portrayed Superman so far. He can't be like the father-esque figure to Kara as he is in the comics, because in the comics, when she comes to Earth, he has to teach her how to adjust to being a human,
right,
and Earth's customs, and you can't just show your powers off, and you need to make a secret identity and everything else. And he has to convince the world that he has to vouch for her, because you know she's not trained like he is, and everything else. So she's kind of wild and destructive with her powers. She is what the current Superman is like, where she gets into a fight and she destroys half the goddamn city and shit. It's like, whoa, man, like you almost are worse than the villain just being here, because at least, you know, he would have, you know, once we'd have surrendered, he'd have probably stopped. You done tore down half of Metropolis. So he had to vouch for her and go like, no, she's okay. You have to give her a chance. Let me, you know, prove to you guys that she can be a asset to the planet.
That's the thing.
This Superman cannot vouch for her, because we
don't like this Superman.
Right? Even in the continuity of the universe, they don't really trust or like the Superman. So it's like, how is he going to vouch for her?
I would say that was the whole premise of BVS.
Exactly, they don't trust him.
They don't trust this guy. So Batman comes along and is like, well,
some people
I'm going to clean up this mess here.
Yeah, some people do, but a lot of people are just afraid of him because we don't know him.
Right.
You know, because he he just appears one day, fucks shit up, and then he's gone with no explanation of, are you a friend? Are you a foe? What do you stand for? You know, he doesn't do the thing in the comics where he does the interview with Lois and, you know, explain where he comes from, what his powers are, what he's trying to achieve. You know, in the original Superman movie, that's the whole point of that scene, is so then she can go on and print that so then the world can know who he is and not be like, oh God, this, you know, thing
alien
from
dude,
the sky.
Yeah, alien dude's gonna come kill us all.
Right. And I mean, and they don't even know he's an alien, you know, until he explains it. It's shit, for all I know, it's like fucking God just came out of the clouds and shooting lasers out his eyes and shit. So, I mean, I hope poor Henry Cavill doesn't get gypped, because honestly, the way it's starting to seem, like, he's wanting more money than what they're willing to give him to keep being Superman. So we might end up pulling a Ben Affleck with him and just be like, well, he just won't be Superman no more.
Which they've done in the past.
Yeah. Hey, bring Brandon Routh back. He ain't doing shit on Legends of Tomorrow anyway, so. Shit, he ain't doing shit over there.
He ain't doing shit anywhere. He's just like, I got some time.
No, he's watching his watch. Yeah. I got time. But anyway. So this one threw me off. This one really threw me off. So I know I had seen something about this months ago, but I didn't think that I had actually heard it correctly, or I thought it was a joke. But they are making a Dora the Explorer movie. Now, that's the part that's fine. That's whatever.
Okay.
Sure, they
like
make
a live action movie?
Like a live action movie. That's fine. The part that I thought it was a joke is Michael Bay is producing this movie.
So we're putting poor little Dora in boots in the fucking Transformers.
Oh, pretty much. Okay, so I'm getting this story from Mashable.com. It says the animated TV series keeps up with Dora's adventures as a 7-year-old adventurer seeker armed with a purple backpack and a talking monkey named Boots. Dora's Hispanic identity is an important part of the show, with much of its educational output revolving around Spanish language.
Right.
The upcoming movie, which has been reportedly been in development at Paramount in some form since 2015, picks up later in Dora's life. Monner's, because the girl's name I think is like Isabella Monner. Monner's teenage version of the character lives in the city with her adventuring pal Diego. Michael Bay is producing the live-action adaptation, with Nicholas Stoller writing the script and James Bobbin directing. It's yet another collaboration for...
Crapulation?
I know, pretty much, yeah. This is probably going to be a crapulation. Collaboration for Stoller and Bobbin, who also worked together on The Muppets and The Muppets Most Wanted. So, are we being trolled? I just feel like...
I don't know.
Did we go into like an alternate universe?
First of all, why do we need to see Dora as a teenager?
Well, because it's Michael Bay doing it. And Michael Bay ain't gonna do nothing that he can't make sexy in some way, shape, or form. He gonna make it sexy some way, shape, or form. Everything he does, he gonna make it sexy in one way or another.
But, like, who's asking for that? Who's asking for... I guess the same people that are asking for, like, Shazam and
sure,
the Spawn reboot and shit like that.
Sure.
But who's asking for a teenage Dora the fucking Explorer? I didn't even know she was still relevant.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm like, is the show still
granted,
on?
I don't have kids.
Sure. And you were older.
And I was
older to be watching that show.
Oh, yeah. I was older when Dora came out. Mm-hmm. So... Granted, and Dora's a wonderful teaching tool, and I applaud it. It had the same, like, response as Barney did in the 90s, and Sesame Street did in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I love Dora.
I love Dora, but I'm not asking for a live version.
No.
I'm not asking for a teenage version.
No.
And I sure as hell am not asking for a Transformers Dora.
No.
She's gonna have like a robotic monkey or something, and it's gonna transform and have like all these guns and have like wheels. It's gonna be a crossover with the Sonic movie.
Can I make a request?
Possibly.
Can we have Andy Serkis play Boots? Can I make a request? Can he just be Caesar in Boots? Yes. Like, can we just do that? Because that'll be awesome.
That is hilarious.
And I'm curious, is the backpack gonna talk?
It does in the cartoon.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Is the backpack going to talk in the movie?
I'm telling you, it's going to transform into like the monkey and the backpack are going to come together.
Oh,
and they're going to make like this super shredder or something.
Yeah, oh yeah, pretty much. They're just going to roll into a giant ball and just kill her enemies.
You know in Sonic the Hedgehog, the guy that was like the henchman and he had like the spinny nose.
Yeah.
The bacon guy.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but I know who you're
Anyway,
talking about.
that's what it's going to come out. It's going to be Dora and that guy rolling around with the monkey face for Andy Serkis.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me because and just looking at like the photo they have of her, I mean, the costume is spot on. She even has the little haircut
she looks like
and everything
Velma.
else. she looks a little bit more like Velma than Dora per se, but I mean,
and she definitely does not look like a teenager.
No, well, I did look it up. She is 17, so she is a teenager. So, and actually, she was in the most recent, I think, Transformers movie because she's the little girl in that most recent one. There's a little Hispanic girl in it.
Okay.
That's the actress. So Michael Bay, like he finds an actor that he likes and he just puts him in everything that he does. Like, at first it was Shia, then it was Mark Wahlberg, and now it's this chick. So,
yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be they're gonna drop everything that makes Dora Dora and it's just gonna be an action movie. I feel like it's gonna be like Tomb Raider or some shit like that. I just want to know, is there gonna be a part where like they're trying to find something and she's gonna stop and look at the camera and be like, "Do you see the?" And to just stare for like 5 minutes.
Me.
Yeah, I know.
Swipe or no swiping.
Right. Mi amo Dora, and just stares at you and it's like, the fuck is happening right now? If they don't do that at least in like a blooper during the credits or something, I'm gonna be very upset. So Michael Bay and the guy who's directing this, writer, whoever, please have a moment of that, even if it's a blooper at the end. Like, you don't have to break the whole fourth wall in the middle of the movie, but even if it's at the end, if they can have that, you'll get 10 cool points for me because that'll be fucking hilarious. But it was funny because when I had looked this up, because, it was like, our first look at Dora the Explorer or whatever, and I had looked it up and I had showed Amber, and I was hesitant about making this joke, especially with everything that happened with James Gunn and everything else. I'm just like, should I make this joke? But
I'll say you're already on the list.
I know, right? But to be fair, Amber made this joke, so really, I'm just parroting Amber's joke.
If Amber made the joke, then it's
it's totally fine. Because she was funny. She was like, "Well, it's okay because I'm a woman." I was like, "Yeah, but you can still be a pedophile. I don't mean anything." But anyway, she's 17. She's legal most places. Anyway, the point is, when I had pulled up the picture and I was like, "Oh, they're making a Dora Explorer movie," she, as I thought that it would be a little girl, and then we saw this chick. The first thing she says is, "When did Dora get boobs?" I was like, that's awesome.
Oh my god.
I was like, yeah, no, it's a good point. And I mean, look.
Well, they did advance her, 11 years?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm like, well, 10 years. She was 7 in the show. And now
was she 7?
Yeah, that's what it said, at least in the synopsis thing I was reading, that she was 7. And now the actress is 17. Who knows what age she'll be in the movie, but yeah, she was like, when did Dora get boobs? I laughed so hard. I was like, oh, that's hilarious. I mean, and I will say, if you would have just told me Michael Bay was executive producing a Dora the Explorer movie, I would have thought she'd have been in like a tube top and like some booty shorts and a bunch of cleavage sticking out and shit.
This is just a prelim.
You're right.
They're going to shorten all that up.
Yeah, as the movie progresses, all her clothes are going to get blown off and shit. She's going to be in a fire and she's going to have to rip her shirt off and
be like,
I'm sure.
Nipple length.
Pretty much.
Nipple height. Pretty much. To be like... Bam.
Yeah, but it's wholesome enough, I guess. It's not like, it's not like slutty Dora like I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought it was going to be like, oh man, they just finna hold this little girl up. Michael Bay is finna have a camera right in her asshole.
Could be like,
yeah, well, he's not directing it.
Have it follow from the monkey's perspective.
Pretty much, man. Like, he's not directing it, but I feel like he's going to have his fingerprints all over this shit. If Michael Bay is producing something, Michael Bay is just making a movie. Like, I'm sorry, he is. Because he ain't doing another Transformers, so he ain't got shit else going on right now, so he gonna be all in this shit. He's sitting there
looking at his watch. Yeah, I got time for that.
Look, he's just gonna push through. I got this shit. Look, action, go. Look. More titties, go. More explosions. Keep going. So, yeah, I guess. Be excited, I suppose. I don't know. And
Dora's one of those things, though. It's like Barney. The kids that grew up watching Dora when Dora first started, they're like mid-teens now.
Yeah.
Because Dora's been on the air for what, 10 years?
Give or take, yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's why they had to age her up. They was like, hey, the kids who grew up with this are teenagers and adults now. We need to, we need to get them back. But my thing is just like, if this is successful, can we then go on and just start making live action movies out of things that have nothing to do with action movies and shit like that?
Yep.
So can we get like I don't know, live action Reading Rainbow or
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
Oh my God, yeah, I know. He's like it'll be just like that Clint Eastwood movie where he's like that old gruntled man and the gang kids are like in his yard and shit. What is that? Gran Torino. Yeah, it'll be just like Gran Torino. Oh my God. He's gonna be sitting on his porch with a shotgun like, won't you be my neighbor? Like, oh shit. Oh, it's gonna be great.
Remember to be kind.
Oh shit. Yeah, he's gonna go in the backyard and because it's gotta be dark and gritty like everything does. That whole palace with the train and all that shit in the backyard is just him high on meth in the backyard, tripping balls, and that's how he's seeing all this shit. Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. That's it. There you go. Speaking of Mr. Rogers,
sure.
I saw an article, and I was gonna send it to you, but apparently Jim Carrey is doing a reboot of the Mr. Rogers Neighborhood with Jim Carrey. So I wanted to kind of like research it a little more.
Like, it's going to be a movie or a show?
No, it's a TV show.
Really? He's going to be Mr. Rogers?
Essentially.
Wow.
They had like a picture of him in a sweater and a sweater vest. And
that's interesting.
So maybe we'll elaborate on that later on when we find out about it. I'll do some research this week.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely wanting to look into that because that could be interesting. Okay. See, I was just talking about seeing the fun, happy Jim Carrey again.
I think he could have fun with it.
He's going to burst into tears in the middle of the show like, she killed himself!
Bullying's no joke!
Oh, God.
PSA, bullying really is no joke.
No.
We talk a lot of shit, but bullying's no joke.
Nope. Nope. But for our last story,
alas,
we are in the. I guess. Look, we are in a time where Disney's buying up everything, and the few studios that are left, they got to do what they got to do to try and stay relevant.
Right.
And Sony is gonna milk this Spider-Man shit for every goddamn thing it's worth. So I'm getting this story. I'm also getting this one from WeGotThisCovered.com. It says, per Variety, we know Sony has already drawn up plans for Silk, Night Watch, Morbius, Jackpot, and Kraven the Hunter. Silver and Black are headed to the big screen too, but they've since been redirected to individual solo movies. Couple this with the fact that Sony Pictures currently owns film rights to roughly 900 Marvel characters, big and small, and it's pretty clear that the SUMC is bursting at the seams with cinematic potential. Now, for those that don't know or didn't hear anything about this beforehand, the SUMC is what Sony is calling their cinematic universe. And it is the Sony's universe of Marvel characters. And I was like, are you fucking serious? Are you serious? I was like, y'all ain't even trying. It's like they're trying to have their own thing, but still somehow be connected to Marvel.
Hell yeah, they want to siphon in that Marvel money so the mouse doesn't get it.
So, and then they go on to say, that's assuming things get off to a good start this October, mind you, when all eyes in the industry will turn towards Ruben Fleischer's standalone Venom movie and its A-list cast. Word is Sony wants to court Tom Hardy back for future installments too, while there's even been talk of a potential MCU crossover if everything goes according to plan.
Oh, so we're finally going to get Spider-Man and Venom together?
Okay, first off, I'm going to tell you
that shit ain't never happening.
I'm going to tell you right here and right now. The only reason that Marvel is willing to even share, because, Sony had to do something with Spider-Man, so they were like, look, after the Amazing Spider-Man 2 flopped, They were like, okay, we're willing to do anything to try and make this character work because this is our fucking golden goose.
Right.
Marvel is like, basically this is their stance. We will let you incorporate him into the MCU. We will let you use some of our characters in his standalone films. But we have creative control over the Spider-Man movies. Mm-hmm. You can't just take our shit and then go run off and tell some bullshit-ass story you want to tell. You ain't finna take Iron Man and throw him in your bullshit-ass Venom movie. We get to choose what the story is going to be for the Spider-Man movies if we're going to incorporate him with our shit and share our characters with you. So they're just trying to have their cake and eat it too and say, okay, well, we can't control the Spider-Man movies, but we still own the character. But we can take all of these sidekicks and villains and C and D list characters and make a universe out of them. And it's like, how are you going to make a universe completely filled with sidekicks? Well, I mean, because at first it was the Spider-Man cinematic universe, but I think they changed that because it's too limiting. You know, because it's like, well, you can't just make movies about nothing but Spider-Man villains and shit.
Right. I mean, there's plenty, but there's not that many.
Right. And then after a while, it's like, well, okay, who gives a shit? If Spider-Man ain't gonna be in none of these fucking movies, I don't fucking care.
Right.
So now they're just
they're
like,
not all anti-heroes.
Exactly. So
I
now
can maybe see the Venom, but
even him, I'm like,
yeah.
But now they're just like, oh, it's the Sony's universe of Marvel characters. I remember how a while back I was talking about, like, goddamn, Fox had like all of the Marvel characters.
Yes.
No, Sony has all the Marvel characters. 900 characters?
Does Sony
I didn't even know
X-Men?
that there was 900 characters in canon in the comics in general.
Right.
And they have 900 that aren't the Avengers and Cap and all them. Like, who the fuck else is there?
That's what I mean, because Sony doesn't have X-Men.
No, but I'm sure they got a bunch of obscure characters that like
none of us have ever heard of.
Never had their own book. You know, like this shirt that I'm wearing where there's like 50 superheroes on it, like half of them in the back is probably who they talking about.
Right.
Like a lot of these motherfuckers who you don't know shit from. And I'm just like, man, you first off, the name sucks. Mm-hmm. Like you have to come up with a better name than Sony's universe of Marvel characters. That does not roll off the tongue very well.
Not at all.
At all. And then, like you said, it feels like it's just pandering. It's like, oh, well, we can say this to make the fanboys be like, oh, it's the MCU. It's just like, I feel like when the MCU became popular, studios started doing shit to trick companies. Because, like, Fox would start doing shit like, because Fox and Sony was doing this thing where they would start putting the Marvel logo up.
Yeah.
You know, like after like their studio logo, and then after a while, once Marvel Studios got kind of bigger, I feel like Marvel went to them and was like, "Hey, we didn't make this shit, so y'all got to stop putting our shit on here, making it seem like we did this." So now it says in association with Marvel, and it's like, yeah, you have to make that distinction because before it would be just like Marvel would pop up, and they'd be like, "This ain't an MCU movie. What is this bullshit?" So I think with this name, they're still trying to kind of do that, where it's like, if we say Sony's universe of Marvel characters, then they might get confused and think, oh yeah, this is an MCU movie. It's like, no, this is an SUMC movie.
Yeah, we'll go see that. Sure.
Yeah, I remember when people made fun of the DC Extended Universe's name, but this is just, or as Funhouse coined, the Dooku, the Dark Universe Cinematic Universe that Universal was trying to do.
I remember that.
The Dooku.
The Dooku.
I don't want to be one of those people who are just like, I want to see something fail.
Right.
For the sake of seeing something fail.
Right.
But I don't want to see Venom do well. Not because I don't like Tom Hardy, not because I don't like that character, not because I don't want to see a Venom movie, but I don't want to see a Venom movie without Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And because that character is not a strong enough character on his own for me to give a shit. He's not. I know Venom has his fans. I know the Lethal Protector, run. I know the whole Agent Venom thing in the comics. I don't care about none of that shit. Venom is a villain. Period.
Yep.
You can make him an anti-hero in some one-off stories, this, that, and the other, but traditionally he is a villain, and he always ends up going back to being a Venom. Or a villain.
Venom, yes.
So, I have no interest in seeing a movie without Spider-Man in it that has anything to do with a Spider-Man character, and I really don't have any interest in seeing all these sidekicks of the sidekick characters get movies. It's like
a kick-ass. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, man.
No.
Silver and Black movie or standalone movies or whatever the fuck they're trying to do, no one gives a fuck about that. Like, nobody wants to see that shit. The whole reason that people like Black Cat is because of her relationship with Spider-Man.
Right.
No, okay. Okay, perfect example. This is my argument for why you shouldn't be doing this. Nobody asked for a Catwoman movie, and we all saw how that bullshit turned out, okay? You making a Silver and Black movie or a Silver Sable, Black Cat spin-off solo movies or whatever, the same thing. No one gives a shit. If Batman, because Batman or none of the Batman shit was in Catwoman, and it was just a bad movie in general, and they completely changed her origin story and everything else.
I liked Catwoman, but I didn't like it at the same time. Like, I liked the movie because Halle Berry, she looked badass.
Oh,
Sharon Stone, she looked badass.
Sure, yeah.
You know, the whole Robin Hood thing where she was, like, stealing from the rich people and giving to the poor people and looking out for her friend and righting the wrongs. Mm-hmm. I liked that.
Sure.
However, it should not have been called Catwoman because there was no connection to Batman.
Nope.
There was no connection to the backstory. Nope. Her name was not Selena Kyle. Nope. You know, there were so many things. Like, had they made that movie and called it something else, and, like, the Cat Burglar or something.
Yeah, anything else.
The only thing that they kept was that the cats brought her back to life.
But that's just from...
And even then, that's piggybacking off of...
Batman Returns. Yeah, because in the comics, is that she's just a cat burglar.
Right.
And she just likes to dress up like a cat.
Right.
She don't have 9 lives. She wasn't brought back to life by no shit. None of... So yeah, no, you're right. They kind of...
If they could have taken that movie and labeled it The Cat Burglar or something, because we don't know Catwoman. You know, we know Catwoman and we know that she's a cat burglar, but we don't make that connection.
Sure, yeah.
Like, does that make sense?
No, I get what you're saying, yeah.
If they would have called, you know, The Great Cat Burglar or something along those lines, that movie would have been so much better received than...
Yeah, because they just put that on there because of 2 reasons. 1, because Halle Berry was at like the peak of her popularity at that point. And 2, they needed a name that people would recognize. They wanted to make some kind of superhero action movie with Halle Berry. It was like, what can we use? Let's just say she's Catwoman and we'll just go from there. And it's like, man, don't do that shit. And I feel like this Black Cat Silver Sable shit is going to go the same way. It's like, no one's going to give a fuck if... These characters cannot stand on their own. If they could, they would have had movies years ago. They would be in the pantheon with Captain America and the Hulk and everybody else.
Yeah, there's a reason that we're not hearing about any of this until now.
Yes, it's like nobody has any interest in doing that. Like, honestly, I feel like because finally Kevin Feige... It's like
making a She-Hulk movie or something.
Even that, though, she's a more recognizable character than Silver Sable. Like, come on, man. I mean, at least she's got Hulk in her name. You know, at least people know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't want to condone Disney just being a super monopoly and owning everything, but god damn it, man. Just buy Sony up too and just be done with this shit. Because like I said, man.
Call the mouse up.
These motherfuckers is just... God.
Need to make a call and be like,
oh shit! I just bumped my head on the mic. God damn! He's like, oh! He's like, oh, I see you sons of bitches got a Sony universe of Marvel characters. Oh! We shut this shit down.
I love it.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, Sony's just gonna keep trying until. Just, again, stick to making PlayStation's video games. Right. Everybody loves that shit. Like, you can't go wrong in that department. But this
I'll say, don't they own DreamWorks, too?
I think that's Disney.
Disney's got DreamWorks?
Or is it Pixar? You might be right. Sony DreamWorks might be right. Yeah. I think
okay,
right.
So stick with stuff like Shrek.
Yeah. Do animated movies and do...
Those seem to be really received well.
Yeah, but get out the superhero game.
I would say, what was the one with Will Smith, the Shark Tale, and you know, there's Shrek, there's Flushed Away, stick with those.
Yeah, no, this superhero shit ain't working out for y'all. No. It just ain't. It's like, and it frustrates me because even with this Venom thing, it just frustrates me because you can only reboot something so many times. Marvel can only catch lightning in a bottle so many times. We were lucky that people were willing to accept a new Spider-Man that close to us having the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Sure.
And then that was so close to the last Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Like, it was hard for people to accept Andrew Garfield. We got through that, and then we changed him again to Tom Holland, and luckily people were okay with that. I don't think we can keep doing that with these other characters.
No.
So it's like, if this Venom movie flops, even if, let's just say, the Venom movie comes out in October, it's a train wreck, it doesn't make any money, Marvel comes in or Disney comes in and they buy up all of the Sony shit, or they just buy Sony altogether. Even if that happens, I don't see them rebooting Venom again, or any of these other characters that they may make a movie of in between that time, for at least a few years, to try and give some space in between, you know, when we've seen these actors play these characters.
Right.
Because, especially with somebody like Tom Hardy too, he's such a recognizable name and face. I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody else to replace him.
Right. That's gonna be hard shoes to fill.
Yeah, with anybody. I mean, just don't make this shit. Goddamn.
Plain and simple, cut and dry.
Right. Just stop this Sony Universal Marvel characters bullshit. Just stop all this. I don't know. I'm just old bitter man, and I just want things the way I want them, I guess. I don't know, but we'll see. Like I said, we'll see. Venom's right around the corner. I mean, shit, 2 months, it'll be here.
I know, it's almost September already.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where is this year going?
2018, just. Mm-hmm. But any final thoughts on the Sony universe of Marvel characters? I think I said that right. Yeah.
Other than their name sucks.
Right.
No, no. Just say no.
Or say no to drugs, kids.
Say no to try to make superhero movies, Sony. Just back it off.
Yeah, y'all can't even pronounce symbiote right. I can't. I can't deal with y'all in this shit. I can't.
Right.
So that is it for the show, guys. Go check us out on Podbean. They are one of the best podcasting apps out there. Podbean has been a leader in the field of podcasting for over 10 years, developing innovative tools for podcasters and podcast listeners. You can download it on the App Store or get it on Google Play. And remember, you can always find us at our home, onegiantleapforgeeks.website.com, or on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, or anywhere else you get your podcast. Make sure to show us some love, so go ahead and like, subscribe, rate, follow, review, and all that shit.
If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you just, want to say hi and chat it up with us, you can always email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can find us at the number 4 Geeks on Twitter, and we're also on Facebook, Reddit, Pinterest, Tumblr, Instagram, basically every social media platform that you can think of. Just search for One Giant Leap for Geeks. All right, you guys have a good night. Bye.